So temperatures, they're going to get hot. How does 110 sound? How's 111 sound? How does any of those sound to you? As of right now, it's going to be real warm. They're going to get hot. Ooh. How does 110 sound? There you go. So now I'll be able to interact with everybody. So, yeah, let's talk about heat. It's going to get real warm starting this afternoon and into probably Friday and Saturday. Temperatures anywhere from the mid-90s up to maybe as high as 110 in some areas. I know Medford is looking at maybe 114 on Wednesday or Thursday. That's just downright hot. And honestly, it's kind of quite miserable. So it really sucks. I'm sorry. But let's talk about it because it's something that's pretty serious. Anytime we have heat anywhere near triple digits, it starts affecting a lot of things. It affects the elderly, it affects young people, affects people with pets, kids in cars, dogs in cars, pets in cars. Just don't bother doing it because it's not worth the risk. Even for 2 or 3 minutes, just take the kids inside, do whatever you have to, but be responsible, be smart. Again, a lot of fluids. If you need air conditioning, there are a lot of places that are going to be offering what they're calling cooling stations. Look at the National Weather Service Portland feed at NWS Portland. They're tweeting out links from Tiger, Beaverton, Portland, places to go to get cold or to at least get out of the heat because that's going to be really important. So you want to make sure that you guys stay cool. People are saying, hey, we have all these weddings and events coming up. Yeah, people want to know how hot. How hot on Saturday? Lori, Saturday is looking like anywhere, depending on where you are in the Willamette Valley, from 98 to about 101. So it's going to be still pretty hot. If you're going to the Oregon Jamboree, it's going to be really hot. Thursday, 110 maybe in Sweet Home, maybe a couple degrees chillier than that. And I say that, tongue in cheek, 105, 106. Friday, maybe 101, 100 degrees, 99, somewhere in that range. Saturday, cooling off into the lower 90s, maybe the upper 80s if you're lucky. It's going to be really warm. So, hey everybody, hope all's well. Hi sis, how are you? Yeah, so I'm going to do a quick little science lesson here about how we measure temperature, because I know that at some point during this heat wave, somebody's going to post on social media, oh my gosh, my car says it's 125 degrees outside. It's not 125 degrees outside, but let's explain it. So there are 2 ways that temperature is taken. Indirect sunlight, which happens to be sun shining directly on the thermometer. It's going to be hotter than the actual temperature because there's nothing to restrict the heat transfer from the sun to your thermometer. So red thermometer, gonna explode, not really, but it's gonna be hot. It's gonna say a temperature actually hotter than it is. You're gonna have that in cities. You're gonna have that in areas where there's a lot of concrete, a lot of buildings, stuff absorbs heat and gives it off. It's gonna be warm, but that's not how the temperature is actually measured. To get the proper temperature, we take it in the shade. And if we're talking about actual official temperature, 6 feet off the ground, 2 meters, in a temperature radiated box, which means it allows airflow to move through. It means that there's no direct sunlight on the thermometer, actual measuring the ambient air temperature. So when it says it's 110, it's 110 degrees in the shade. Think about that for a minute. 110 in the shade, or any temperature in the shade. It's just downright hot. So if a temperature says 118 on your car thermometer, that's probably because the ground is radiating a little bit extra heat up underneath your hood, and then your car temperature, picks up that sensor. You see the giant bank signs. It's 127 degrees. Trust me, it's not 127 degrees. It's probably 108, 109, 110, somewhere in there. But because it's the actual ambient air temperature mixed with, direct sunlight and objects holding and retaining heat, it sometimes makes it hotter than it actually is. So again, when we see temperatures in your car thermometer, 9 times out of 10, they're not reliable. That's why you use Facebook and Twitter and social media. That's why you watch TV stations, why you listen to the radio. They will give you the actual temperature that is measured at an airport by National Weather Service employees and National Weather Service equipment that is calibrated and they know what they're talking about. So if we hit 110, it's in the shade. We hit 115, it's in the shade. Any temperature ever measured that is an official record is always measured in the shade. So that's why we be careful when we're out there and we're throwing stuff around like, oh my gosh, my car temperature says it's 130 degrees. Trust me, this is not Phoenix. This is not Las Vegas. We're not going to get up to 130 degrees. It might say that on the road surface, and that leads me to my next point. If you're out walking barefoot or you have pets, dogs specifically, or if you are one of those people that take their cats for a walk, because I know a couple of you out there, do it early or do it very late. Anytime the temperature goes above 85 degrees, the temperature on the sidewalk and the pavement starts escalating very quickly. The National Weather Service tweeted out a link earlier today that says if the temperature is 85, the pavement temperature is like 105. It's not really a sliding scale. It's more along the lines of it exponentially grows. So if the temperature outside, the air temperature is say 110, well, I'm sure the pavement's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 140. Don't quote me on that. I haven't looked up the sliding scale yet, but you get the point. Anything over 100 degrees on pavement hurts your feet, hurts the dog's paws, the cat's paws, the whole nine. If you have pets, go take them for a walk early, then stay inside, enjoy the air conditioning. Don't be that guy or girl that takes their dog out for a walk in the middle of the day. There's no reason to. Keep the dog inside, find some grass, find something light and airy for them to walk on. Not pavement, not asphalt. Dirt is kind of the same principle. If it's a lot of rocks, it's going to be hot. You know this. If you've ever stepped on a rock and it's warm outside, the rock retains heat. I did a little experiment when I was in Medford over the weekend. We had to park in a field before we got on a shuttle bus to go to the festival. There was a rock below my feet, and I was just wasting time. So I picked it up because I wanted to see if the rock actually held a lot of heat. So the rock was in the dirt pretty good. I'd say maybe 4 or 5 inches down. Picked up the rock on the bottom side, which had been in the shade for who knows however long, was extremely hot. It wasn't as hot as the side that had been in the direct sunlight, but it still retains heat. Stuff on the earth retains heat, folks. So that's what we're saying. Buildings, sidewalks, streets. Don't walk in them with bare feet or take your pets out because it can be harmful. Now let's talk about how cold it might possibly get at night. The answer to that is it's not. Temperatures at night, if we're lucky, will dip below 70. If we're lucky. There are some places that won't dip below 70, especially Wednesday night, Thursday night, when we're in our hottest phase here of this little heat wave. If a temperature doesn't drop below 70, it's really uncomfortable to sleep because you're now looking at temperatures that just sit there and just constantly radiating heat. It's not a good way to cool off. So that's why we're saying if you don't have air conditioning, maybe consider getting a hotel for at least 2 nights, or maybe stay with somebody that does have air conditioning. If you don't want to do that, please drink plenty of liquids. Keep the windows closed, close your shades. Whatever you can do to prevent sunlight from coming in will help the temperature. If there is a breeze at night, maybe even early in the morning, consider opening the windows then, letting some colder air come quickly in, and then just seal off your place. You don't want to have to deal with the heat. It's not fun. Please watch out for the elderly. Those are my biggest concern because those people are the ones that are going to have trouble dealing with stuff. It's just not a lot of fun. So please take care of the elderly. Please take care of your neighbors. Check on them. Just make sure that it's, that everybody's happy, because it's going to be one of those things where, I hate to say it, but I have a feeling that, if you want and you can, go to the coast. The coast is going to be absolutely beautiful. The high temperature in Tillamook, from our friend Ben Randall, was saying forecast to be maybe 96 on Thursday, but everywhere else looks to be in the 80s, especially leading up. So maybe even, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, temperatures in the maybe low to mid 80s, maybe a little bit upper 80s. It's going to be beautiful at the coast. If you can go, I say go. Get out of town. And you want to go west versus east. Temperatures in the valley and then even up in the Cascade foothills are going to be extremely warm. Temperatures 95 up to maybe even 110. That's going to be kind of the range for the next couple days. Be safe. Be smart. Drink a lot of water, a lot of Gatorade, stuff that doesn't make you thirsty. I know everybody's like, oh, what about alcohol? It's refreshing, yes. If the mountains are blue, drink it, but drink a lot of water with it because it will dehydrate you, and that's not good. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy it. Do a lot of fun stuff. If you can, stay at home. Go to the library and read. Libraries have air conditioning. They're one of the cooling stations. Go out and enjoy it. Abby says, sleep in your underwear, people. Yes, less clothes equals less heat retained. It will help you sleep better. I know it's not going to be fun. I lived, let's see here, 24 years without air conditioning. I will never live without it. But again, I've been there. It's not fun. You go out and buy fans. A friend of mine posted on Facebook earlier. He works for New Seasons. He was saying their warehouse is already out of bottled water and they're waiting the next shipment. So go buy water now. Prepare now, because as we get into this Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you're not going to find a lot of bottled water. You're not going to find a lot of sports drinks. You're not going to find a lot of fans or air conditioners. Go today, buy the stuff now, be prepared. We're going to have the same speech when we do the whole end of Earth apocalypse with the lunar eclipse coming on the 21st. Buy your stuff now, be prepared, because you don't want to be stuck on the freeway with 100,000 of your closest friends. Neither do I. So be prepared. We will get to that a whole different time, but just be prepared. So again, go buy water, go buy fans. If you don't have an air conditioner and you can afford one, maybe go consider picking up a window unit or one of the ones that sits there and recirculates air in your house and will cool it down. Those work really good. But go buy it now. Don't wait. Take action now, because trust me, when Thursday rolls around and it maybe is 107 to 110, setting all type of all-time high records for heat, and you want bottled water, you go to the store and chances are it's not going to be there. So do your due diligence now, be prepared. Let's go. All right, so people are hopping on, they have questions, so let's go through some of the questions. Again, sleep in your underwear, that's a great point. My friend Christy says her thermometer's broken every day at 80. I'm sorry to hear that. That's not cool. Science at lunch. Yes, Lori, you guys are welcome. So again, in case you missed it, we don't measure temperature in direct sunlight because that leads to false readings. We measure it in the shade, where it's the ambient air temperature, where that's correct. That's how you do it. Yeah, so not to get too technical with you, but the World Meteorological Organization sets the standards for how to measure temperature. 6 feet up in the shade, preferably above a parcel of grass, because grass doesn't necessarily retain heat that well. So again, in the shade, 6 feet up, that's how we measure the temperature. Now, if you want to get technical about wind and other things, we can have the discussion. But if you're measuring wind, it's 10 feet up. So, 30 feet up, 10 meters up. That's how we measure the temperature. Abby wants to know what's the hottest time of the day. It's a really good question. Here in the Northwest, usually the hottest time of the day is between 2 and 5. I'm going to say somewhere between 3:30 and 5:30 personally. I think that's just when we've had the maximum amount of solar heat possible from the sun. So between 3:30 and 5:30. Temperature starts to drop fairly quickly after we hit that point. Usually the high temperature will happen right about 5 p.m., somewhere in that range between 5 and 6, again, depending on conditions. We could have some wind that helps either compress the temperature and heat us up, or it mixes it enough where we're not actually getting the maximum amount of heat possible. So if you're looking to find out what time of day the records will be out or what will be the hottest, I'm going to say right now between 5 and 6, just my guess. But usually between 30 and 5:30 is when we have the hottest part of the day. But again, there's a whole bunch of other conditions that kind of warrant that and control that, so that's what happens. People are asking again about if you're going to the music festivals this weekend. Oregon Jamboree down in Sweet Home. It's in the foothills, so there's a little bit of elevation. But with all this warm air that's sitting on top of us, elevation between 2,000 and 4,000 feet will still be very, very warm. Sweet Home is just below that, but it's still going to be hot. So temperatures that I'm looking at for Thursday, as they're finishing the setup, probably about 108, 109, 110, somewhere in there. For Friday, 101, 102, somewhere in there. Thursday, 98, 99, maybe 100. Sunday for the last day of the festival, probably 88, 89, 90, 91, somewhere in there. A lot can change between now and then, but the models have been pretty consistent going over the last 4 days that we're going to get some heat and we're going to get a lot of it. So, Abby says AC units can't freeze up. Yes, AC units can freeze up. It happens. Easiest way to prevent that, one, make sure you have a brand new filter in your furnace or the air conditioning filter. It will help reduce the workload on the air conditioning unit. 2, don't set it to like 65, because if you're going to have ambient air temperature outside, of 100 degrees, saying you want 65 degrees, it's just going to take forever to cool your house down, and that means your air conditioner is going to work overtime. Set it to 70 or 72 or 73. Because listen, 73 is a lot colder than, say, 84 or 85 in your house. I will take 73 indoors all day because it's a nice, consistent temperature. And you don't have to work very hard. Your air conditioner, that is, doesn't have to work very hard to help kind of balance that out. If you can, run the air conditioner early in the morning and late at night when the air temperature outside is significantly less than what it is during the middle of the day. That will cool your house down quickly versus, say, when you walk in at 3 o'clock and you haven't been running it all day, and say it's 75 or 78 or 80 degrees in your house. It's going to take a long time for the air to cool to a temperature where you feel comfortable. So run it early. Run it often, but don't overstress your air conditioner. So again, temperatures are going to be warm, 110 maybe. Let's talk about records. The all-time warmest temperature measured at the National Weather Service Portland office /PDX is 107. We have the chance of breaking that record Wednesday or Thursday. A lot has to happen. We have to have the right conditions for that to happen. I don't see something preventing that from happening right now. The last few model runs are all pretty consistent with temperatures being between 107 and 110. It's hot. And if we break 107, well, there's a new record. And that record stood for a long time. I want to say 1981 was the last time that a temperature was that warm here. We've come close. We've had a couple of 105s, a couple 104, 103 degree days, but not 107. So if we get above 107, it's a new all-time record for Portland International Airport. Now, if you want to laugh and just think, oh, well, we missed the snow. Yes, we do miss the snow. One thing that Steve Pierce has talked about in some of his studying of climate around here is when we have really nasty winters, we have a tendency to follow up with a bad summer. What about the following winter? Well, I think we're going to probably be in line for hopefully not necessarily as snowy, but maybe. We'll see. But I want to put that thought out there. We're now getting ready to hit August. So we have August, September, October. And then once we get to November, December, and January, we're right back into the cold and back into the rain. So I know everybody here would love to have some more rain right now. We don't see it coming in the next 17 days. We're going to start having to talk about all-time dry streak records being broken. We're into, I think, 41 or 42 days so far. I think the record is 71 days. There's a chance we beat that, so we will see. This could also possibly go down as the hottest August of all time. Depends on what happens with the first part of August. If we do get above 100 degrees, if we do hit 110, that will skew, obviously, the average highs for the next couple weeks. I will say this, one of the model forecasts that people have posted that I've been looking at, and I just love it's awesome. When you go ahead and you look at some of the different models that we are looking at, it's pretty consistent. There isn't a whole lot of fluctuation. I know that during the snow we talked about, well, one model says this, another one's way off. Most of these models have been very, very in line with each other, which tells me that it's most likely going to happen. Ryan Underhill just posted the Euro model. The morning run came in at 10 a.m. We're now just getting the graphics. Here's what they're saying in terms of temperature. We'll start with today. 93 is a high. 96 tomorrow. Wednesday, let's crank it up to 104. Thursday, 108. Friday, 100 degrees. Saturday, 96. Now, here's the change, and we have seen this in the last 2 days, but haven't put a lot of stock into it, but if it keeps showing up, we're going to have to. Keeps us back into another, it doesn't cool off. According to just the Euro, this morning's run of it, 98 now on Sunday. Monday, 95. Next Tuesday, 97. Next Wednesday, back up to 100 degrees. So it's not like we're trying to cool off or anything, but it's welcome to summer, and it's going to be warm. I'm going to switch groups here. No, this is one I wanted to see. So, last night's global forecasting system had what some of the guys had deemed as a cool off to a chilly 109 now on Thursday. So again, temperatures are going to be really warm and extremely hot. And again, the easiest way to do it, to break the heat, head to the coast. this morning's 10 a.m. run of the global forecast system has today a high 91, tomorrow 99, Wednesday 108, Thursday 106, Friday 101, 96 on Saturday, 94 Sunday. And then a quick little cool down, and then we ramp right back into the temperatures. But just based on this, the average temperature for the next 17 days, average high temperature is 92 degrees, overnight low 65. There's no rain in the forecast, very little cloud cover. I did see a satellite picture earlier today of some wildfires that are burning up in British Columbia. If we stay in a northerly wind flow pattern, we will get that smoke into the metro area tomorrow. So we're going to have some really beautiful sunsets and some very beautiful sunrises. It will be a little hazy. I don't know if we'll be able to smell the forest fires, but the smoke in the upper atmosphere will be making its way down here. So it could be interesting. Could make for some really beautiful sunrises and sunsets. So if you have a camera, hop out there and take some photos because they'll be pretty beautiful. But we're really excited in terms of there's actually something happening weather-wise. Yes, it's not fun. I know 110 is a lot of heat. I know a lot of things are going to happen. A lot of people are going to be very uncomfortable and very inconvenienced by it. But hey, I'm just sharing with you what's going to happen, what we think is happening. Keep it tuned to favorite TV stations, favorite radio stations. The National Weather Service on Twitter has been fantastic at NWS Portland. They're tweeting out a lot of helpful links. Again, places where you can go to stay cool, places where you can go to just stay out of the heat, because that's going to be the most important thing. If you don't have to be outside, say after 11 a.m. to about 5 p.m., don't. It's just going to be miserable outside. It's going to bake. You're going to feel warm. You might get lightheaded, drink plenty of fluids, wear light-colored clothing. That's the other thing. Don't wear black. I like black, and it looks good in a lot of wardrobes. Just don't wear it because it attracts heat and it keeps it in. You just don't want it. If you have to go out, wear light-colored clothing. It helps kind of reflect the sun's radiation. Less temperatures withheld against your body. It will make you feel a little bit more comfortable. But just be smart about it. That's the thing. Be smart. If you don't have to be out, don't. If you have air conditioning, stay in. If you have to stay at work for a couple extra hours because they have AC, by all means do it. Trust me, it will make your life a lot easier and you won't be so miserable because it's not fun to be miserable. Frankly, it sucks. So just stay cold. Try and beat the heat as best you can. If you have a pool, enjoy it. If you want to get out of town, go to the coast. That's where the coldest temperatures will be. I will take mid-80s any day versus 110 in the valley where it's going to be swelteringly warm. Beat the heat as best you can. Talk to you all soon.